I can't be Stevie Nicks. I'm just a generic, non-specific look-alike.
Hey, Randy.
And we are anything but generic or non-specific. Welcome to the generic, non-specific Stevie Nicks podcast. I am your co-host, Randy.
I'm Anthony. And Randy,
Yes.
this is episode 17.
Ooh, baby. Ooh, said ooh.
No, it's season 1 still. We start season 2, maybe 2 later.
Yes. So another way to talk about this is that it is the season finale. And I'm not going to spoil it, but there will be a cliffhanger, and it's probably Sandy Stewart walking through that door with a veil
Dun,
over
dun,
her face
dun.
to testify in whatever trial we're going to come up
Yes.
with.
And for our audience, you're always here with us. We plan right in front of you. We have if you think we talk about this outside of this podcast, you are so wrong. I want to do stuff on social media about our 1-year anniversary, and we're finally going to tag Ann Magnuson and
yes, we are
her for the podcast name. We have to figure out the best way to do that. Okay. So,
and also just for fun, since it is the season finale, we have my dog licking himself. So there we go.
And if you're coming across this and you have not listened to our episode 1, the origin story, go check it out. It's really fun.
Yeah, it is.
We hope to be more fun like that now that we're kind of out of the structure of review 12 tracks in a row.
Right. There's going to be some things. In fact, just like Anthony said, we don't plan this and it happens kind of all live on the air. Anthony, I think we should put a poll in Spotify when we put this out with at least 3 choices of what do you want to see us do next now that we have completed the box set. Because we have other things that we've talked about. We've got things that we want to do, but I'm curious what our fan in Sweden wants us to do.
Well, no, we see you out there. We see the number of folks who are listening, and we thank you so much.
Yes.
Well, we want you to talk to us somehow so bad. just dislike us. Hell, click something,
Right. We do have a couple, in fact,
subscribed on the different platforms because what?
Yeah. We have a couple that chime in over on Facebook sometimes and on Instagram, and we thank you for that as well. But yeah, we're going to wrap this first season up with the very last.
Know you, we want to know you.
We do. So today we are wrapping the box set review up with the last disc of Rarities. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
And we said last episode, like the first disc of Rarities, in my opinion, was like head and shoulders above the rest. And I wondered, and I misspoke last time, Randy. I hope you don't mind me taking a moment. I think Stevie should have sequenced these 3 discs in the order she wrote them.
Yes.
I think it was just like it seems random to me. If there's a order you're seeing, tell me. But it seems pretty like, oh, I want this one with that one. It
is a little random. It feels like the first disc, especially, was in chronological order of release because it's all
related to each other.
Wild, right?
But there were other things that came that predated those. So I would have rather had all 3 discs just flowing in some kind of chronological order, be it the order of her writing it or the order of her releasing it.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like that, but not really.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that are switched out here and there, but the first disc does feel like extremely chronological, and then discs.
I mean, those are things that should have been on her albums and should have been hits. That's the way I phrase it in my mind.
Right.
And the rest, and then some of them are pretty cool. Why did you cut it? And there were some of them are like, you should have never left the vault, girlfriend.
Right. That gothic trunk of lost songs has a smaller trunk of gothic trunk of should have been lost songs.
Randy said it, not me, Stevie. You can still invite me over. I will betray him in a sec. No, I won't.
And again, we're very sorry, Japan. We're so sorry.
So this, I just one note. We talked about the box set last time, the whole complete studio albums and rarities, and that you can't buy the vinyl anymore. It's all sold out. But did you know it was number 23 on the top album sales chart That's the highest position it hit during its sales.
Really? No, I didn't know that.
Pretty good.
So congratulations, Stevie.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Because I mean, it did carry a pretty hefty price tag. It was worth every penny. Don't get me wrong, but it was still, a pretty hefty price tag.
I didn't mind paying it because it felt like such an event to me.
Right.
And I'm unlike Randy, folks. I've told this story a couple times. I think it was like 1996. I was moving out of an apartment into my first house with my husband, and we loaded up the truck, and someone grabbed the milk crates of my vinyl collection off of the truck when we went inside to get more furniture, whatever. So I've lost almost everything I've gotten on vinyl. I had CDs and such, but now I have it all again. So that made me very happy,
Yay. Me too. I'm happy that we got that. Also, I think I had been recollecting some of my vinyl that had just been lost over the years. And I think I had everything of Stevie's on vinyl except for Rock a Little.
Okay.
And so, and I would search eBay and stuff. But this is so much better. I mean, it sounds better.
It's like I bought it before.
Yeah.
It somehow came back.
Right. And if you notice my my little altar here that I set up for the podcast does not have my vinyl box set because I took it to work with me this week because I have a turntable in my office. And so my office staff had to listen to the entire box set from beginning to end, with the exception of one album that I just refused to play now that we've done it for the podcast.
Hey, Brian. Anyway,
hi.
Moving on.
We miss you.
So the first track of the third album is, speaking of 1996, is when it was released, the year my vinyl was stolen. What a connection.
Yes.
Free Falling.
Yes.
Go for it. I know this means a lot to you, this song.
It does. The funny thing is, okay, first, it was recorded for Party of Five, for the soundtrack to Party of Five.
You know what? I cannot find an episode where it was played in the show. So was it actually played in the show, or was it just, it seems like they just threw songs together for an album to sell.
I never watched the show.
I may have watched an episode by accident, but I don't know that to be true.
Yeah, I remember it being sort of a cultural, not a phenomenon, but it was definitely in the cultural mindset back then.
I hope I don't turn anyone off, but I avoided at that time all of the many, 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 many Pretty White Kids with Problems shows.
Right.
Though I know they were kind of like poor or whatever, but it still felt like that genre. Yeah.
Party of Five, living at Melrose Place, 90210. What? Yeah.
What's up?
I used to, well, no, I still do. I have this song on my, I would call it my Stevie Nicks Essentials playlist, but it's really like this 12-hour playlist of all of these things. But for a very long time, I had to be in the right mood to listen to it, and I would skip it a lot until after Tom Petty died. And she started performing it live. And then it started to take on a little bit more meaning to me. And then, of course, when we saw it live, I just, with the everything, the photo montages, her vocal delivery, the way that she hits those high free fallings, the
live version we saw in Dallas in April of this year is the Julia Child French Kiss version of this song, and it was incredibly moving and so well done, like you're saying. And she challenged herself vocally.
Yes.
However, I like this song. Two things: the harmonica, I hate it, hate it. And the first chorus, the first free falling, hate it. The rest of them, I love it. I don't know what she was trying to convey in that vocalization, but it didn't work. To me, someone should have said, Stevie, that we got to do this one again. But I know you love the song. That's just my observation of it. That first one, every other one, she nails it. That one, it's like, Jurassic Park, sort of.
I kind of get you with the harmonica, and I always think it wrongly. I don't know this for sure because I didn't look up who all of the studio musicians were, but I know that on the album that should not be named, the harmonica on whatever song that was, I think it was Just Like a Woman, was Stevie's brother Chris, and he's the butt of so many
No, I
jokes.
didn't catch that, but I know a lot of the folks that recorded it, I think from memory, are part of Tom Petty's band.
Okay.
From what I saw of the musician names.
Yeah.
But you're more knowledgeable than me. But I love the song. It's just that first one. So I just brace for it and then I enjoy the rest.
I think if you think of the first one as kind of laying the foundation for her to build the other choruses on.
I just hear a Tyrannosaurus from Jurassic Park. That's what I hear when she says free falling. Now, everyone, please, in the comments, rip me apart. Tell me you agree with me. Well,
that's the soundbite we need to use for the preview when we market this.
Okay. Shall we move on?
Let's move on.
The second track is Reconsider Me, which is from 98 on Enchanted.
Yes.
But it was an outtake from Rock a Little?
Rock a Little.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's like what? Like 84?
84, 85. Okay. Yeah, somewhere around there.
Okay. You go first, unless you want me to go first.
Well, I was so excited about Enchanted. I mean, just over the moon that we were getting a Stevie Nicks box set was the coolest thing ever. And she was coming right off of the dance, and we were also getting a new song, and it was the first new song. And I wasn't overwhelmed. I wasn't underwhelmed. Okay. I'm just whelmed. It's just a very whelming song. I know that it was written by Warren Zevon.
It was obviously not her writing from the first lyric.
Yeah. And it just, it's another one of those songs that was given to her that she did that I know why was not put on the album, because it doesn't, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like a very Stevie Nicks kind of message to me.
Are you able to sing the first line with the correct melody? When you're all alone and you need someone?
Yeah. When you're all alone and you need someone,
dial 888-6432 and we'll bring furniture to you. That's what I hear.
Oh my God.
Not a fan, not my cup of tea. The vocal was okay, but my take on her vocal was her heart wasn't in it. She didn't like the song either. That's my perspective. I don't know that to be true. Yeah.
Well, I think she said something like in the liner notes or in an interview or something that, Jimmy Iovine had found the song for her, and she went in and she recorded it, and she said something like, "Yeah, but I really wasn't in a very reconsider me kind of mood."
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, but in re-listening to this, it made me think that this might have been, she has called Joe Walsh the love of her life several times, and how bad they were for each other in terms of a relationship. And I could see her kind of using this song as a message to him when they're breaking up, right? That she didn't want him to go, and he went anyway, and please reconsider me. But yeah, it just doesn't, it seems so out of
past that it sounds like a commercial jingle to me when it starts.
Yeah.
And I thank you for doing that with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. That was great.
98. So what were you doing in 98? I had, like we had said, we were in our house I had just finished college, and we had been in our house for like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Nick. So what were you doing in 98?
Well, let's see. We'd been together for about 4 years. We were in our first house together too.
In where? What town were you in then?
I was here.
You were here. Okay.
Yeah. But it was our first real house together. I was still coming off of the high of the dance. I think I'm pretty sure I was managing a fast food restaurant at the time. Yeah.
Taco Whiz. That's right.
Taco Whiz. Shout out to Taco Whiz. Yeah. And I just remember, in fact, I think I'm almost positive now that you said that the Enchanted tour was my first time to see Stevie solo.
Aw,
And I remember
where was it?
it was in it was outside in the Texas heat in August. And so it was in Dallas. I think it was at
Okay.
Music Hall at Fair Park, or it was somewhere outdoors, because I remember it was
Oh,
just
okay.
incredibly hot. And the two things I remember the most is that Tom is not a Stevie fan at all, right? And so it's, but I wanted to share that with him, and I like
Right.
begged and pleaded for him to go, and he was just miserable the entire time because it was
Aw.
just so hot,
Oh,
right?
well, not miserable because Stevie, miserable because he. Okay.
Miserable. Just the trip for him was pretty. We drove up there. It was not a lot of fun, and I had a backpack with a tambourine in it, right? Like that. And on the other side of me was one of those little 14-year-old girls that just discovered Stevie Nicks from the dance, which was so cute, right? And and we talked a lot pre-show, and she would throw out all these songs she was hoping to hear, and they were all like Fleetwood Mac songs, and I was like, oh honey, no.
Randy, I just realized that same year is the year Nick went to see Stevie with me in Atlantic City.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
That's so
And
funny.
we had the same experience. There were these nurses, a bunch of nurses sitting next to us, and there were these two women, young women in front of us, that this really petty little fat, heavy-set nurse lady was like, I wish the Olsen twins would sit down. And then she said, I'm sorry, audience. I'm conveying the petty. It's not me. They should have just bought one ticket. They don't need two seats. They're too skinny. But my point was, these like 16-year-old young girls were singing every single syllable to every single song. And that
Right.
made me so happy.
Right. I was so thrilled.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm giving this poor little girl homework. If you like Silver Springs, then check, if you like Dreams, then you should, and have you heard this? And like,
Okay. So Stevie did the edge walk at this concert.
yes.
And in deference to my husband and not embarrassing myself, I stayed in my seat in row 11 or whatever, instead of running over little children and older people
Right.
to be at the front. But there was a young woman next to him. Imagine Pink, but very blonde. Pink,
Okay.
the singer, but very blonde. And she was she was with a guy, but you could tell she just brought him because he bought the ticket
Mm-hmm.
for her. And she kept chatting with me the whole time because she was like into everything and all. And she had black fingernail polish. So she had blonde hair, black clothes, black fingernail polish. And during the edge walk, she said to him, I'm going to run up there. I want to be able to shake hands with Stevie Nicks. And so I'm watching and I'm watching and I'm watching. And then at that very last minute, Stevie's going over this way. The very last minute, she got to the side where this young woman would be. And all of a sudden, I saw the hand with the black fingernails raise up and then clutched Stevie's hand. And I jumped up and down in my seat. It was so exciting.
Oh, that's
But
so
we should
great.
probably move on, but we're having too much fun talking about this.
No. That's I love this. This is great. So yeah, Enchanted was a really special time.
Yeah.
And I just wish that maybe the new song, or the Gothic Trunk of Lost Songs,
Yeah.
was a little bit more. That's all.
Yeah.
Like Julia. I was going to say
What
that.
song is that? Okay. So next is If You Ever Did Believe from Practical Magic. So
Okay.
this was written in the 70s, if I saw correctly. So this
Yes.
is, to me, first out of the trunk. Is that?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. It was
And it's also from 98, right?
right. It
wasn't on
yeah.
Enchanted. It was on that soundtrack.
It was actually like 99 or 2000, because it was right before Trouble in Shangri-La.
Okay.
And so here's the cool.
Oh, okay. Was it written for Trouble in Shangri-La maybe and not used? Or do you think it was written specifically for the movie?
Well, no. Well, it was written in the 70s, but it was.
Oh, right. Duh, I just said that. Yeah.
So there's a a demo of Gold Dust Woman on one of the Rumors reissues that's acoustic and has some of the verses from this in it. And then it was also recorded by Carole King's daughter.
Oh, Dandy, you were supposed to say that.
Well,
I was going to say, Randy, what's a Louise Goffin?
Well, now we know. And I think Stevie did backing vocals on that.
That's what the articles say. I found it and listened to it, and I don't hear it at all.
Yeah. Well, if you strain really hard, you can hear her sing, "Don't come around here no more." Oh, sorry. And then when Stevie did Storytellers and Sheryl Crow did Storytellers, those two tapings were done like 2 days apart. And so they were both in New York at the VH1 studios at the same time. And so in between those sessions, Sheryl Crow produced these two songs specifically for Practical Magic. And that's when Stevie was like, "Hey, you're a pretty good producer. Would you consider producing my next album?" So I always think that's cool.
So to me, these lyrics were at the extreme, like there's the spectrum of her songs of imagery and poetry and literal statements. And this is over at the extreme literal statement side of the spectrum for me.
Yeah.
Which end up always usually being my least favorites. And the vocal was okay. It's an okay song, but it doesn't it never moved me. I was glad to have new music, like you said.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really excited.
I was, and really at this point, she could have, like you said in the last episode, she could have burped and farted and released it, and I would have gone over the moon. Because at the time, I was working as a bookseller at B. Dalton's. Look it up, kids. It was a real bookstore. And it really was. In a shopping mall. Look that up too, kids. I was working in a shopping mall, and we had this big stack of discount book copies of Practical Magic. And I just took it home. I bought it, took it home, read it, and I fell in love with it. And I immediately was like, oh my God, they should make a movie out of this. And Stevie Nicks should write the music.
Look at you manifesting.
I manifested the fuck out of that because everybody that came in was like, I'm looking for a copy of Roget's Thesaurus. And I'm like, here's a copy of Practical Magic. I need a cookbook. Here's a copy of Practical Magic. And I made that $5 bargain book the top selling book in my store for 6 weeks, just by the power of my hands and my mouth. And so
you need to get to manifesting again, because this week they announced a sequel.
Yes, they did.
They said they want to repeat the idea of powerful women on the soundtrack.
Yes.
So you need to get on Twitter or whatever social media you can find these directors and producers on and manifest.
Everybody out there.
It wouldn't make sense for them to not let Stevie do that. Yes, you got to get Rowan Chappell and Dua Lipa and all them and Tay-Tay, sure. But you better have a Stevie song on there, and it better be new.
Yep, absolutely.
And if you folks have never seen the music video, it's very cute.
It is.
I don't know if it's basically Stevie and Sheryl Crow, like with all these people like setting up a set behind them. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it was just like all fake or if they were just vamping and they were like, this is working, let's do this, but it's so cute. I love it.
In my head, I think that they basically crashed the film set of Practical Magic and just started shooting a music video, and like Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman are like, what's going on here? I'll be in my trailer,
Okay.
All right.
So this next song, Stevie has recorded it 3 times.
Yes, it has been recorded 3 times.
For Buckingham Nicks children. If you don't know, before Fleetwood Mac, there was a solo album between Lindsay and Stevie. And then for the White Album, which we call the Fleetwood Mac album, that's called Fleetwood Mac in 73. And then again on the Practical Magic. No, it was recorded again in 75, but then that went to the Practical Magic?
Yeah, it went. Yeah, it's 3 times. Buckingham Nicks, the White Album, and then Practical Magic.
98, that was the last one. Yeah.
Yeah, 98.
So I will say they're all great versions, but I like the Practical Magic one the most. I like the older, wiser Stevie
Well,
point of view and vocal interpretation the best.
what's the other difference? Who's singing lead vocal on the other two versions?
Well, he is, but I mentally turn him out.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
yeah, that's true. So she's singing her own song. That's a good point.
Yeah, and
I don't know. On Buckingham Nicks, it's kind of like a harmony the whole way through. On Fleetwood Mac, it's him, him, him. Yeah, that's true. Good point.
Yeah, because I don't know about you, but every time I would listen to the other ones before this, I always thought, God, I wish she would record this someday.
Yeah, that's true. I never thought about it that way because I mentally eliminate him.
I don't know what you're listening to except for guitar and drums then, because he's so far out front. And I mean, he's fine. It's a great song regardless. I love the lyrics. I love the melody. I love the love story in this song is so.
The best part of this version isn't even that to me. It's that last C and the vocal vamp for like 17 minutes. I know it's not that long.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. And then the last line of the whole thing is in the Stevie Baby voice, which I love.
Yes. Yeah. It is, as you said, chef's kiss. It's beautiful. And I think it fits Practical Magic even better.
Oh yeah. It's like she wrote it for it, or they wrote it around her song or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I
agree.
It's gorgeous.
The other one, I didn't really actually, when they played it in the film and I listened to the soundtrack, I didn't see it fitting in that. I mean, yeah, it did sort of, but not really. And this was like the whole movie, to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I do think that there was a wasted potential, and I get why they did it, but I think it was a Faith Hill song or something that was like the song that they used to
Randy,
market.
What's a Faith Hill?
And I'm trying to remember what is that song, because it has like weird lyrics about punctuation in it, which I always find hilarious. It's like I don't remember. It's something about centrifugal force and some other.
I am totally blanking on what you're talking about.
Yeah, there was a.
Okay. I'm in the dark.
Whatever song was the lead singing.
Or the other.
Yeah. Anyway, Love Crystal. She should do that in concert too. It's beautiful.
And did I ever tell you when I worked at the emergency room, there was a stripper named Crystal that came in every week with an object stuck inside of one of her orifices? Because we can talk about that later, but someone texted me last night. I had told them that story years ago, and they were in a bar in New Jersey, and they met an EMT that told them the same story about the same emergency room I worked in.
No way.
Yeah. But we digress. Stevie Nicks, right?
Right.
Next track is Touched by Delary. I mean, by an Angel. Touched by an Angel.
Yes.
Not by Delarice. Which was from... it's from the 2001 soundtrack, Sweet November.
Yes.
Which I know nothing about until I read this, and it's about someone dying of HIV.
Yes.
And then I read Stevie wrote a poem about that. So now I can't feel, I have to be nice to this song or else I look like a monster.
Right. Yes. I won't even tell you what my alternative title for this song is because it's so awful. That
it's
I'm
not Touched by Delarice. Okay.
It is not. It's worse.
Okay.
But yeah. And it was recorded for inclusion on Trouble in Shangri-La, and it didn't make that.
Wow.
And but yeah, here we are with another important song.
Well, what I read that she first, because folks, if you don't know, Randy and I have consensus. Stevie will be interviewed about a song a dozen times and tell you what it's about. And the first time it's about laundry detergent. The second time it's about human rights violations. The third time it's about her mother.
Yes.
So she was interviewed saying this was about reuniting with Fleetwood Mac for the dance. And then later she said it was about HIV.
Right.
So maybe it was about both, sure. But
yeah. Well, it took me a long time to really understand how you can take different parts of your life and write like a 2-line lyric And so these two lines are about Fleetwood Mac, and then the next two lines are about HIV. But in the context of the song, it tells a third narrative.
Yeah.
That kind of ties it all together.
I think you can do that. My opinion is that this song does not do that. I don't think she's being honest. I think she's making a story about something, but I don't know what.
Sure.
But
that's it's too.
But I'm going to go watch the movie because I've never seen it. And I've heard the song is in a pivotal scene in it. So I want to give it a chance to see how it works.
Okay. I've never seen it either. And I didn't know that it was actually played in the film.
Yeah, according to what I just read yesterday. So lyrics, like a 6. Vocals are an 8. Ass 10, tits 3, whatever.
Well, okay, here's the thing.
Overall, it's okay. And if it makes me verklempt in the movie, I'll give it a 10.
Right. Well, here's the thing, and Stevie has said this in interviews about all of her songs. And the most famous example of this is like, we were on tour with Fleetwood Mac. We drove under a sign that said Silver Springs. And I thought, what a beautiful name. And then she wrote a song about it and it became like Silver Springs. And then she turns on the TV and watches Touched by an Angel. And she's like, oh, I like that. And this is the song that comes out of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And for me, because that TV show is so ubiquitous, I can't separate.
Right. Silver Spring is one thing. Comet Cleanser is another thing.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. So it's an okay song, but I wasn't like a huge fan.
Okay.
So the next one is from the 2011 Buddy Holly soundtrack tribute.
Yes.
Not Fade Away.
Mm-hmm.
I love that Stevie loves to give others their flowers.
Yes.
But I often don't like the way she does it. And I think this song is very corny, no matter who's singing it. I know it's of a time.
Right.
But I don't know, not my cup of tea. Put it like that.
If she hadn't also covered It's So Easy.
Yeah.
Which was actually done as a tribute to Linda Ronstadt, but because Linda Ronstadt covered it. But I like that one better. Also, I don't know why this is, but it always bugs me when Stevie has male backup singers in her solo stuff because it throws me off.
Yeah,
I'm used
why? I agree, but I don't know why. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why either, but it's just so weird.
F them. Screw the patriarchy. Except for me and Randy. Thank you.
Right. Exactly.
And
we're honorary backup singers.
Hell, I'm a lesbian. I don't know.
Right. There we go. But yeah, I mean,
did put her spin on this. I want to give her credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
Not my thing, Her vocal was okay, well, but
she did really well when she did it live for the Buddy Holly tribute. It was fun to watch, but yeah, I mean, it's just okay. That's what it is. It's just okay.
Okay, the next one was a 2011. It was a bonus on the Barnes and Noble version. I'm sorry, bonus or punishment on the for In Your Dreams, which Randy knows is one of my favorite Stevie albums ever.
I just rewatched that episode a couple of days ago, by the way. So,
but it was an outtake from Shangri-La, but it landed on In Your Dreams. Is that
it was re-recorded. So there's two versions out. There's the Trouble in Shangri-La version, which you can find on YouTube.
I tried to find it, I couldn't. You can help me out because I read there's a slightly different melody on the first one or something.
Yeah, it's a little different. It really is.
Do you have a preference? This one or
I do. I like the Shangri-La version better. I really do.
The one that's on the box set.
No, the one that's
the one I don't know. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll send that to you, and we'll post it on the blog.
Okay.
Because there's a vocal thing that Stevie does on the Shangri-La version that I really like, where she progresses. She holds a note out and she modulates it up to the next key.
Okay.
Really, really great. And she doesn't do it on this one. And I think that's a real shame. So when I'm singing along, I just throw it in there. I
had mentioned a while ago about the spectrum of like poetry to literal. To me, this is over near literal. Again, that just tends to take me away from a Stevie song when I hear that. And then there's that one verse or whatever that's repeated 4 times in a row. And I think she switches out a word or two in a couple of lines.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
the guitar was too rock and rolly. And I didn't think it was like congruent with her vocal or the lyrics, you know?
But, it is a little disjointed. And I'm glad you said that, because I always thought it was disjointed because I liked the other one better and that I was biased.
I don't think you are, because I never heard the other one.
Yeah. I mean, it's on a lot of my playlists, and I listen to it, but it's also one that I will skip fairly often.
So this is 2010. I can't tell you what I was doing in 2010. So we were living in our current house.
Yeah.
I was still working at the university that shall not be named forever.
Right.
I don't know if anything special happened.
You went to Street Angel University?
Huh? Yes. Oh, that's when I lost 60 pounds in 2011.
Oh, yeah. Well, we know what we were doing in 2011, because a big part of it was us listening to In Your Dreams on rollingstone.com for a week before the album came out.
There you go.
So that's what we were doing. We were sitting at our respective desks without all of this equipment around us, and we were talking on the phone.
Right behind me, facing that wall.
Yep, that's what we were doing. But yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so last but certainly not least was For What It's Worth from the 2022. It was a digital only release, Stevie.
Yes.
Wow. Do that more often. And it's not Dusty Springfield, which I always think.
No.
There is an artist called Dusty Springfield, right? I'm not making that.
Yes, no.
Okay, cool.
And she's got a brother named Buffalo.
And that was written by, it was performed by that band, Buffalo Springfield, written by Neil Young.
Stephen Stills,
the other one.
Yeah.
But both of them were in that band back in 1966.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
well,
I have a big grudge about this song because it's the second song with the same name.
Yes.
And the first song with that name is something that's very beloved to me and Randy. We consider it like the story of our friendship and our lives. So it bugged me that now it's like, which For What It's Worth? But whatever, get over it, Anthony.
Well,
she did it to encourage voting. So this is definitely one of her message songs, right?
It is.
It was after the Uvalde school shooting. And then she talked about it. She recorded it right before that. No, right after that in response.
Right after.
Then
I think
Roe versus Wade is when she started to post about it.
Yes.
When that was overturned.
Yes.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I read that she admitted not being very political before that.
Yes. And I read that too.
And that she said to herself, it was because she was so busy, and now she doesn't consider that a valid excuse for anyone.
Right.
So I'm glad she had an awakening.
Yes.
And she,
Me too. And aside from the title, I think she does a really great job with this song.
Vocal is 10. Yeah.
Yeah. And the live performance was mind-blowing.
You could feel, it's a well-known protest song. It has been forever.
Yeah.
And you could feel, in my opinion, in the live version, that's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I don't want to, because this is, we record on one day, and it may not get posted for a few more days. And I know we try to keep this not topical because we want these episodes to be evergreen. But I will just reference very vaguely. It was very weird to listen to this song today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I listened to it before what happened last night.
Yeah. I listened to it like just about less than an hour before we started recording. So that was a little weird, and I got like weird feelings in my tummy kind of thing. So I don't know that my emotional reaction to it today is the same as I would have, most times. So I choose instead to talk about when you and I got to see it in Dallas, because it really was just
Powerful.
so powerful. And the whole, I mean, you Stevie will bring the audience with her all the time anyway. And most importantly, like when she does Landslide, or she does one of her big, very well-known songs. So for her to do a song, and you remember this too, so many people around us were like, I didn't know she did that. Did you know that she did? Like there was like this visible confusion for like the first 30 seconds, a minute of the song. But by the end of it, the whole audience was with her.
Right.
And I thought that was great. It's so rare that you get to see that anymore, because so many artists, when they tour, kind of rely heavily on their catalog, so that they, they make sure that the audience is familiar with the material and stuff, so that they get their money's worth or whatever. So to debut a new song, new-ish, and see the audience respond to it for the very first time was great.
Yeah. Again, I love the song. It did make me wonder why on this set she didn't include her other recent protest song,
Yes.
Show Them the Way. That just, I guess, room on the discs. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, okay. So two things about that. So when she released Show Them the Way, it was on a different record label. It was Universal. So all of the songs that are on this collection are all under the Warner's catalog. And so I think they just didn't want to negotiate for the rights to Show Them the Way. But I would have loved to have seen that on
one song, Stevie. Get it.
Right.
Make it work. Yeah.
And I think she's never performed it live because it's so Mabel Normandy, which is the reason she doesn't do Mabel Normand.
Yeah.
I don't think that she would be able to read the teleprompter fast enough to be able to get through Show Them the Way.
But if you don't know this song, and it's funny because Randy knows I haunt YouTube for the reaction videos, Stevie Nicks reactions, Fleetwood Mac reactions. And whenever someone does this song, first of all, we have seen at least two creators like cry while listening to it.
Yeah.
And then the audience, the people in the comments are like, I'm a lifelong Stevie fan. I have a pair of her underwear that I stole from her dressing room, but I've never heard this song. So go listen to Show Them the Way. And also, for what it's worth, if you've not heard it, they're both worth it.
Yeah. So that is the entire collection.
The curse is broken. We're free.
We're free. But I want to ask you, and in the process of doing this, did you come out of it with did your opinion of anything change? Did you appreciate something more, appreciate something less? Was there something that you forgot about that?
No, I honestly don't know. Like, probably, I don't know if I was like taking special note. I really enjoyed the early albums, listening to them all the way through. You do that pretty often. I do not.
Yeah.
So like revisiting that whole collection and listening, like, the first three, I really enjoyed that process. I don't know. If you can remember me telling you I did, tell me.
I don't. I really don't. I know that the things that stuck out for me is I did get a renewed appreciation for Rock a Little as a complete album.
Okay.
Because I hadn't listened to that straight through in a long time. I was so happy to have Trouble in Shangri-La on vinyl. That's really cool. And like I said, I just watched the In Your Dreams episode again the other day, and then listened to the album again all the way through, and I forgot just how, and I watched the documentary. So I really went down this In Your Dreams rabbit hole for about 3 days. And
I have to go watch it. I imagine I was super negative woman on In Your Dreams episode, was I not?
You really weren't. Okay. No, you really weren't. There were some, there were some pieces of it that you definitely didn't like as much, but all in all, it was a pretty positive episode.
Okay.
Yeah, and we need to figure out how to do like watching In Your Dreams with commentary, watching the White Winged Dove with commentary, like some of the one thing that I think we have a big opportunity with, and listeners, please chime in, is Stevie's visuals, and we don't get to really talk about that on this because we can't. Right. Okay. Everybody, name the 2 videos that we just parodied.
I almost broke my desk.
But yeah, that is it for season 1. We are done, and now we can move on to some more fun things.
Ooh, baby. Ooh, season 2.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Good for you.
All right. So thanks everyone for supporting us this season or any episode at all. We really appreciate you.
Especially the Swedes.
Yes,
we love you,
Sweden gets to commenting. We can use Google Translate if it's not
right
English. Don't worry.
We can, because we know you already have your national heroes in ABBA. So the fact that you're taking time to listen to a Stevie Nicks podcast means a lot to us. Yes. Oh my God, what if it is ABBA listening to our podcast?
Then if it is, Agnetha, you want to be a guest? Come on.
Right.
Yes. We want
right.
to hear you. Come on. And actually any Swedish person could probably pretend to be her and I wouldn't know.
Right. Yeah. Oh my God, speaking of, Sandy, get in here.
Okay. Well, we shall see you on the other side of the mirror.
All right, said Alice.
Peace.